chekhovOS is a self-talented, experimental game produced by Arlequin Players Theater in Zero Gravity. The game describes itself to be a mix between an online multiplayer video game and a live theater performance. Participants in the game were all invited to a Zoom meeting, and from there, we were asked to use a QR code to go to a website where we could make decisions on our phones throughout the play. We also received a mysterious private message on Zoom from the actors within the game that asked us to go to a different site, which begged us, the viewers, to vote in certain ways throughout the play in order to break the AI actors out of the endless game. The play then opened up on Zoom with a host that guided us into scenes from The Cherry Orchard by Anton Chekhov. In between scenes, the host would spin a wheel and randomly select one of us to answer a question, or we could vote as an audience which scenes we wanted to view next on our phones. This only happened a couple of times, and for the most part, the experience of the game was scene hopping to different parts of The Cherry Orchard. Participants also had the opportunity to chat amongst each other in Zoom while the play went on. In the end, the chekhovOS within the Zoom meeting pretended to break down and concluded with a game over on the screen. Shortly after the play ended, there was a chat with the main people behind the production, to which it was revealed that everything was pre-recorded, except for the host, and that the choices we made throughout the play did not matter, and that we would always get the same play, The Cherry Orchard, with those same scenes in the same order, even though the first choice we made as an audience was seemingly which play we'd watch that night. I'll leave you with my recorded thoughts on the play shortly after that chat. Well, that was an interesting show. For a comprehension of the performance as a whole, I don't think it communicated the Chekhov plays that well. I felt it was disjointed and weird and I didn't really understand it. But the concept as for being like a play that you can kind of vote and interact with, and maybe like the actors have to do certain scenes in order, or even if there was some improv implemented later on, that'd be very cool. I think this performance, most people felt cheated just because there was a promise of interactivity and there was no choice, actually. It was futile, one could say Chekhovian futility, for you to actually have any choice. So most people, I think, experiencing that just gets frustrated. And that sounds like most of these people come from like a theater background. So they wouldn't really understand that most gamers or people who have played video games would get frustrated by this. Time and time again, games that promise players the ability to choose or to interact or make a choice about how the story ends up, and then don't get that. Instead, the game hides it and pretends to be something that it's not. People feel betrayed because you insert yourself into a player role, and because you insert yourself into a role in interactivity, instead of a in traditional theater, you're a non-player. You experience the play before you. But as a player in this, if you insert yourself into the player role and then you're robbed of the ability to do the thing somebody promised you would, you take personal offense to it. Time and time again, players put themselves into the shoes of the character that they're playing as, whether it's Link from Legend of Zelda, the Master Chief, whoever, Commander Shepard, Mass Effect. You put yourself into there and you get to decide or feel like you make the choices that you do. You choose where to go and anything like that. So what this performance could have learned from is like, they don't have to choose everything, but even just be able to choose like what plays we experience for the night, since it's all pre-recorded, or like choose certain scenes in order, still wouldn't make us feel completely satisfied, but it would have been something rather than no choice at all. So as a concept, very intelligent, very cool. I think it absolutely has potential for the future for a new experience in plays. Probably not every play will feature it because it's a traditional form and it adds a new layer to the already established like function of the play. But I think people will capitalize on being able to interact with like a play in this kind of manner. And with technology that we have, everybody has a cell phone, so we can easily do that. The funnest part, the craziest part was the chat. Everybody being able to communicate with each other and talk about like what's going on, what even is this? Do we have any choice in this? Super cool. Very cool. Everybody, that was the funnest part. Not the play, the ability to talk to each other and talk the play the entire time, which isn't good for the play, but it was great for us. So the functionality, I think, saved that performance because we had very, very funny people in the chat. But ultimately, the concept is great. Practice was not in this particular form. But they're raising money for a charity, so you have to give them that. Anyways, this has been Spencer Reese from Rogue Media Gaming. Thank you so much for listening to me. Until next time, play like a rogue.